Welcome to a special edition of You Have Been Watching, in which we'll be looking at some of the weirdest shows of recent years. You'll see things so strange you'll think you've drilled a hole in the screen and inhaled some of the plasma. It seems that nowadays all TV shows by law have to feature a lineup of grotesque freaks, and I'll be interested to see which of my guests we cut to when I said that. My money's on Frankie Boyle. There's been a lot of weird shock docs recently. The boy with 3 arms, the man with a knee for a head, and so on. Despite the titles, they're often surprisingly sensitive studies, although sometimes TV can overstep the mark completely and show us an individual so stricken, so deformed, so hellishly disadvantaged, you think, no, stop this is wrong. For pity's sake, just turn the cameras off and let him finish hosting this episode of All-Star Family Fortunes in peace. Some shows are baffling because they're so terrible. It can be hard to pinpoint what it is about a programme that makes it so astonishingly bad. It's usually a vague, indefinable, Fern Cottony sort of factor. Of course, some bad TV does have its uses. For instance, I used up every negative word known to man to describe John Barrowman's Tonight's the Night. So when Totally Saturday came along, I was forced to invent the term shitifying. Speaking of despicable weirdness, let's meet our guests. Joining me on the show this week are Frankie Boyle, Richard Bacon and Josie Long. Now, for centuries, human beings have lauded it over the animal kingdom, as though we're somehow better than them, just because we wear shoes and invented the potato waffle. But in an attempt to redress the balance, BBC Three recently invited members of the public to experience life as an animal in a show called, with frank efficiency, My Life as an Animal. The end result was one of the weirdest shows ever made. Let's take a look. My Life as an Animal was the ideal TV format for anyone who's ever pondered how it would actually feel to live as a pig or a penguin for several days, i.e. no one in their right mind. In each episode, wildlife guru Terry Nutkin, seen here looking really bloody sexy, stewarded 2 bewildered volunteers as they experienced the joys of everyday bestial life.
Try and do it the way that a penguin would do it.
So they have to live like an animal.
Oh, that was in the nuts.
They have to eat like an animal.
I can't drink it.
They have to sleep like an animal. They have to talk like an animal. And generally just be an animal. And why are they doing this? Well, to get a better understanding of how animals live, obviously, because you can't get this kind of information from reading it in a book, say, or asking a farmer. No, you have to get down on all fours and actually live it. Go on, live like a beast. A lot of it seems to consist of my life as a severely inconvenienced human.
Yeah. It's also sort of my life as a very unsuccessful actor, isn't it?
Yes.
Oh my God.
They couldn't even get celebrities. They couldn't even get Richard Blackwood to do this. They've got people. One woman gets introduced as an actress and estate agent. And then a guy pops up and they say he's a TV presenter and bar manager. You're like, well, at least call him a TV presenter if he's presenting your TV programme. They couldn't even give him that. It's just like a punch in the kidney. You're a fucking bar manager.
Josie, what did you make of it?
I thought it was really bizarre. Like, I was mystified by it.
The show is mental. And also, the format doesn't really make any sense, because you've got the guy living like a pig. And then at one point, he goes to the abattoir with the pigs. What should have happened is he should have had the 250-volt electric shock to his brain. He should have been strung up by his legs and had his arteries severed. That didn't happen. He watched it happen and he went home. A pig would love to be able to watch that and then go home again.
So your objection to this is that the people weren't gutted?
That is very specifically my objection.
To this program. Yeah. Across the episodes, the participants had varying experiences. Richard, one of the pigs, really threw himself into the whole I'm an animal thing. Let's take a look.
My first impressions are that they are sweet animals. They're funny, you know, they've got all this kind of little nuzzling noise. Ow! Well, I feel quite safe if I put my foot in its mouth. It's having a little nibble. So I think she's doing that now automatically to me. She initiated that, she started that, not me. And I think that's something that we've got now.
Moving scenes of Richard there, as happy as a human in shit. You can't tell me you didn't admire him in any way.
Well, how bad an actor must he be, right? Because I've watched the bill, They're not good actors. What's he doing at auditions? Screaming like a fucking baboon.
What they should have done, they should have left him for 2 years with no human contact, just feeding him by machine or something like that, and then maybe waited until the moment where he finally would give in and find one of the pigs so attractive he couldn't hold back and he started having intercourse with it, and then just switch on the lights and bring in his children and his family.
I appreciate that he got involved. I think a lot of the women in it, they misrepresented women because they got women who were a bit kind of... like, if they'd have got women plumbers, they'd have been, right, OK, let's do it. So I like the fact that he went for it.
Is women plumbers your euphemism for lesbian?
Sorry, is it 1975? No, it's not. It's a euphemism for a certain type of lesbian. Type of lesbian.
It strikes me that the My Life as a Blank format is potentially limitless. So imagine I'm a BBC Three commissioner. So what have you got? Come on, hit me. My life as a what?
Let's take it that step further. Let's knock it up and make it a bit more like wife swap. So, yeah, you live as a pig, one of the other pigs replaces you, and at the end of the 2 weeks, whoever's done best gets to stay. So, you know, have a committee of their friends and they say, sorry, it's just we don't want you back. We've really got on with Pebbles much better than you did.
I think, see how much you can get them to do, because if you're going to do that, make them live for a year as a Pine Corner unit in the Bolton branch of DFS.
I think they should split them into teams and have, like, my life as a gazelle and my life as a cheetah. Just make them fight it out. The show is held together by wildlife stalwart Terry Nutkins. What did you make of him?
He said one really good thing. He said, for the first time in the history of Terry, I'm speechless.
He did say that. He did say
Can't
that.
invent a genre about yourself. Especially not if you are Terry Nutkins.
Do you know what he's doing when he's not doing this? He's actually the vice president of Goldman Sachs.
No, he is not.
No, he
No,
isn't.
he's not.
Why is he so interested in animals? Like, as he was growing up, did he just... No one ever discouraged him? He's just like, oh, I love beavers, Dad. I love dogs. Yeah, that's good, Terry. Like, no one ever went, it's just a fucking animal.
Adults do like animals.
Most people don't do that when their children express an interest in animals. It's just a fucking pig.
Hey, if you don't stamp out somewhere, look where it ends up.
I've got some questions about Terry Nutkins here. Terry Nutkins has also lived with animals, specifically otters, but why might he regret that experience? Frankie!
One of them bit his finger off.
Be more specific.
It bit his little finger off. An otter.
I'm not going to give you a point for that. Any advance on one finger?
Right. Hey, it bit 2 fingers. Bit his thumb off. 2 fingers off.
It bit 2 of his fingers off.
Wow, you're being pedantic here. It definitely bit one off first.
There's a big...
Yeah, but look, it might not matter to you, but I'm sure it matters to Mrs. Nutkins.
Yeah.
Well done, Richard. That's 1 point to you. You see, you've got to be accurate. Points to anyone who can tell me what fellow naturalist Johnny Morris left to Terry Nutkins in his will.
Alcoholism.
You don't understand.
I'm not playing by your rules now, Brooker.
Finger on the buzzer. Finger on buzzer. Not alcoholism. No. No. Josie buzzed in first. Josie.
2 of his fingers.
Oh, sorry.
No, that's an unpleasant world.
You don't know, like a zoo, a safari park, something like that, no?
No, tell you what, I'll give you the answer. Morris left Nutkins his house and grounds. Unfortunately, he also left him an enormous amount of debt, so Terry had to promptly sell the house. Luckily, Terry recouped all the money when he launched his chocolate orange. That's nice, isn't it? So, no points to anyone there. My life as an animal purports to be educational, so these are hardcore nature questions, fingers on buzzers, yeah? What do a short series of little grunts mean in pig language? Richard?
I'm hungry.
No?
It means I'm voting for the British National Party.
It's what a pig would say when it met another pig.
Excited? Pleased to meet you.
I'll give you a point for that.
Pleased to meet you, I'm a pig.
I'll give you a point for that. It means hello. Well done.
Come towards me.
How many individual human faces are pigs able to remember, Josie?
30.
Well done, yeah, it is 30.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
I knew that
It helps if the humans keep their face immobile and show no emotion. That's why pigs are so fond of Hollyoaks. OK, at the end of all of that, you are all in the lead. Join me after the break when we'll be back with more weird visions. Hello! Welcome back to our Weird TV special. We move now on to one of the weirdest programmes currently on TV, The Jeremy Kyle Show. You might think it's more horrible than weird, but actually we're both right. It's horribly weird and weirdly horrible. His show's only been on air since 2005, but Kyle himself has walked among us since the dawn of time. The Sumatrans knew him as Jaral, bringer of night. To the Incas, he was Kylus the Mad. Today, he's known simply as Jeremy the Unholy, and his programme looks like this. The Jeremy Kyle Show isn't your average daytime talk show. It's a forum in which disparate groups of people, or failing that, absolutely anyone they can get hold of, attempt to solve their interpersonal issues by seeing who can shout the loudest.
When are you going out like a mother, eh? You had to make me out.
The most incomprehensibly.
What did you say about my baby? I'll come on the show to be here.
Or both. A High Court judge famously described it as human bear baiting, which isn't really accurate because it's quite funny watching bears die, whereas the Jeremy Kyle Show is so depressing it could make God himself contemplate suicide.
30 to 40 porn movies, all of them with your sister?
The weirdest aspect of the show is Kyle himself.
Be quiet instantly.
A sort of psychotic hospital radio DJ and the most manipulative hectoring head of a man you'll find outside of a David Lynch film.
I'm not talking to you, I'm talking to her!
He seems to actively enjoy the chaos, a bit like an arsonist breathing slowly through his nose while he watches a primary school burn to the ground.
I haven't finished yet, it says The Jeremy Kyle Show.
Yes, every facet of the Jeremy Kyle Show is so horrible, even watching this clip has shortened your lifespan by 15 minutes. Still, look at it this way, at least that's 15 minutes less of the Jeremy Kyle Show you'll have to sit through.
That is what you will have to deal with for the rest of your lives, and you deserve it. I am back after this break.
Jeremy Kyle there. What do you make of it, Josie?
It's possibly my favourite show on television. I feel really guilty about this. Not like a good show, like I like real TV shows, but I just can't stop myself from watching it up to 3 times a day.
Well, hang on, it's not on 3 times a day.
Well, if you have ITV2, it is. So all you need is 3 afternoons and
a lobotomy.
Yeah. It's fair. I don't know what it is, and I don't think it's wholly bad. I think it's a bit bad because obviously he's the worst human being alive. But
it's a showcase for the worst human being alive. But putting that aside,
but there is an element of it that is very beautiful, and no, there is because. Right, there's real human tragedy in it, and sometimes you have guests and they're so dignified. For example, I once saw that there was a woman and she'd been really horrifically sort of abused throughout her childhood, and Jeremy Kyle went like, I don't know how you've survived this, sweetheart. And she went, you just get on with it. And it was actually really powerful, moving, and I was like, it's a privilege to watch this. But
then it cuts to a think bingo break bumper.
That's it. You see, when it cuts to that, that's when I know I'm wasting my life. Right? And then I get this ache all the way through my body, like, oh, I've got a degree, what the fuck am I doing?
OK, so they talk about abuse and, and paternity and stuff, but surely that's not the right forum for those kind of issues. The right forum for those issues is a pub car park.
It's not a human form of bear baiting, is it? I mean, a human form of bear baiting can get more than 1 million viewers in ITV.
It starts off nice, though. He'll start off nice, and then gradually over the episode, he sort of turns. And by the end, he's just mental. It's like he's drinking during the ad breaks. By the end of the episode, he's as drunk as his audience are when they wake up.
They should broadcast that so you can match him drink for drink at home. It's interesting you mention his mood swings. During an average episode, His Satanic Majesty Kyle experiences more sudden mood swings than a postman having a breakdown in a hall of mirrors. Witness this grisly bunch of trademark gear shifts.
How does the world react to somebody like you?
I don't know.
Do you know anything?
People make mistakes. But some people never, ever change. This show will help you.
Then why don't you stop sleeping around and maybe the child wouldn't? Too beautiful, too intelligent, and far too sweet for that, isn't that right? I'm going to be like a dog with a bone, and I will chase you back to your dressing room and tell me the truth, because I do not believe you. Did you have sex with her 2 weeks ago? I think you're one of the nicest men I've ever met on this stage, seriously. Get off my stage now. I'm really sorry if this sounds wrong. Actually, I don't care. There is absolutely nothing maternal about you.
Absolutely crazy. The behaviour of a lunatic.
You just don't know where you are with him, do you? He's like a pub dog or something. Hey, oh, what a crisp. Ah!
I actually know him.
What?
Yeah.
No, you don't.
Does he? Can I ask you a
You
question?
didn't take a breath from the audience.
Can I ask you a question about him?
Yeah, go ahead.
Does he wake up in the morning, or does he just slither into our world through a haunted mirror?
I'm afraid I've never been with him in the morning, so I can neither confirm nor quash that.
How do you know him?
Well, I used to work at the same radio station as Jeremy Kyle. No, I
I didn't know Hades had a radio station.
Yeah, he had a show on Capital Radio.
I think he's the weirdest host on TV. I mean, what do you make of him?
He's not entirely like that in real life. He's still very certain, and I don't know how you end up like that in life, where you just have this kind of moral certainty, where you can hear an argument and a debate and you just know categorically what's right and what's wrong. But he does that on telly, and he does do that when you see him.
OK. I've got some viewer comments, a couple of viewer comments on Jeremy Kyle here. Somebody calling themselves the Daily Bumbler. He says, seriously, read Jeremy Kyle, I met him and he smelt of Savlon. Does he smell of Savlon?
I haven't noticed.
Yes, somebody else has said he's like a dull pain in the testicles, annoying and worrying. That's nice. There's a couple of questions about the man himself. OK. Jeremy Kyle recently published his autobiography in which he revealed that he has a weird obsessive compulsion. What is it? Richard?
He's a gambling addict. Is that it?
No, but it's nice to know. Frankie?
He can only shit dressed as a cat.
I could give you a clue. It's something to do with his tongue.
He licks everything.
Yeah, well done, you. He likes to lick things clean, including his mobile phone and golf balls. Yes, I must point out to our viewers it's genuinely dangerous to lick golf balls because of all the weed killer on golf courses. It can build up in your intestines, leading to a slow and painful death. So, Jeremy, I know we've all said some pretty unpleasant things about you, but putting all differences aside, please don't stop licking golf balls. OK, we've talked about Kyle, but some of his guests can be, to put it politely, slightly odd. Let's take a look at this bloke who's been accused of something.
You say I'm sick and tired of this damn woman harassing me.
I am.
But I thought you were sending explicit pictures of your private parts to her.
I've sent one, and I had a bad day at work. She's got me arrested for harassment and all that 9 weeks ago.
Why did she get you done for harassment?
Because I was harassing her all the time.
Very much a modern-day Raffles, yes. A remarkable scene, that. He sent the picture because he'd had a bad day at work. So, Josie, I'd like to apologise for having had a bad day at work every day for the past 3 weeks.
Who do they get to do this? Who do they get to do this? And then, like, you watch it and you go, oh, Scottish people. In Scotland, that's actually aspirational television. Oh, you've got 3 children by just 2 fathers, you posh bastard.
Well, the Jeremy Kyle show straplines try to summarise bizarre problems in eye-popping tabloid style. With that in mind, can you complete these genuine Jeremy Kyle show titles? First one. Stop giggling. Take this seriously.
I was just giggling because I'd gone for it too quickly, and then he saw and thought I was really pathetic, and then sort of went, all right, then, fuck you. And I was like, OK, fair enough, sorry.
You're projecting onto me like a psychotic. I'm not your father, OK?
Well, anyway, yeah, fingers on buzzers, OK? First one. I want my boyfriend to what? Richard?
Appear with me on the Jeremy Kyle show so that we can be bullied and humiliated.
That's frighteningly accurate. Yeah. No.
Frank, is it, I want my boyfriend to stop shouting, is this all there is, at the moment of orgasm?
No, I can give you a clue. It's something a man can't physically do.
Give birth?
I'm going to give you that, yes. I want my boyfriend to give birth to our baby. Well done, Richard. OK, next title. Fingers on buzzers. Living with what?
Is it living with cats, most women's future?
No. I can think people, and not very nice ones.
Fred and Rose West?
Correct!
Wow! No, that's a great episode.
Hounded out of 3 homes for being what?
A little pig?
Josie?
Too beautiful.
No.
No.
Where would that happen?
Too fat.
No. I'll give you another clue. It's to do with hair. Josie?
Ginger.
Correct, Josie. Point to you. Yes, the answer is hounded out of 3 homes for being ginger. Hounded out of 3 homes for being ginger? That's terrible. You don't want to be living outdoors when you get so easily sunburnt. And at the end of that, I can reveal that Richard is in the lead. Now, what would happen if I took a woman, locked her up in a house for 3 months, cut her with a scalpel and forbade her from looking at herself in a mirror? I'd either be arrested or I'd be the brains behind The Swan, one of the most weirdly psychotic reality shows to come out of America. Let's take a look at it. Gaudy, depressing plastic surgery makeover epic The Swan was the sort of reality show which made you despise reality itself. Like most psychotic acts, the premise was simple. Each week, take 2 ordinary-looking women with low self-esteem.
Never thought in a million years it would happen to me.
And get a panel of experts, played here by bastards, to assess how best to change them.
What do you want to do with that nose, Randall?
Well, I think the biggest problem with her is that she's got such long nostrils.
Then make them spend 3 months undergoing workouts, psychological counselling sessions apparently designed to make them weep all the sorrow out of their bodies, and, most important of all, hideous and extensive plastic surgery.
Voila, reduced her hump.
Oh, go on, saw those cheeks. While this is going on, you keep them in a house with no mirrors so they can't tell what's happening to them, before eventually letting them see their new faces for the first time in a studio with everyone watching. And then, because it's a contest, tell one of them she's slightly better than the other one, you know, just so she realises it was all worth it. And let the other one cry with joy through her new tear ducts. Plastic ones. $5.99 from Homebase. The Swan there. You all watched this. What did you make of it?
Awful.
I hate it so much, and it's so scary and misogynist that I'm scared to criticise it because I feel like they're going to jump out and go, well, you would say that, you're disgusting. And I'll be like, oh, please don't cut my face up.
I mean, it's like a cult where you've got the presenter Amanda and her experts, and it's like they're saying to these people, you can reach our level, you can be one of us, but you have to make a blood sacrifice.
Yes, they do. There's experts who sit around in a room like the gods of Mount Olympus.
Yeah.
And sort of see a mere mortal walking around on the earth, and they look at them and judge them and think, oh, how could we make them more generic? More generic and faceless and horrible and bland and shit.
It's like, you know, we think we're like Americans, but Americans are like a lot more extreme than us. So our version of this is 10 years younger, where they basically just give them some Topshop vouchers and a toothbrush.
Fittingly, for a show called The Swan, all the doctors are quacks. Let's take a look at them drawing up some typically enthusiastic plans.
How do we turn her from blah to chickabam?
Cindy represents the ideal plastic surgical patient. She realizes that her nose is droopy and she also has a pointy chin. In her own words, she looked like a witch.
She will have a nose job, brow and mid-facelift, cheek refinement and fat removal below the eye, lip augmentation, liposuction and shortening of the chin, photofacial, hair removal, collagen and LASIK eye surgery.
Before I pass out, take good care of me. Make me beautiful. I will.
Yes, that was a clip from the new BBC Three show, My Life as a Mess. I think it's what I like to think of as serial killer logic, in that they genuinely have convinced themselves they're doing a good thing, and they use that to drive them to chop up women, just like Jack the Ripper. Josie, you're looking horrified.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's exactly the case. They all go, oh, when I was 6, I was bullied really terribly. And I think it might as well be called The Bullies Were Right. It's like, I was called a witch. Well, she does look like a witch. She's very perceptive.
Right. Each episode of The Swan ends with a nightmarish money shot where the transformed contestant finally sees the new her after 3 months without mirrors. Let's have a look at how one woman deals with the dramatic results.
Please welcome the brand new Cindy Ingle.
Oh my God. Oh, wow.
That's like something from a Tim Burton film. Actually, she didn't realise that was a mirror. She thought it was a TV showing live coverage of Taiwanese gay pride.
It's incredibly like the end of a horror movie. You expect Jeremy Kyle to reach through the mirror. Come here, sweetie.
I kept expecting her to not stop laughing and just punch a fist through the mirror and pull a shard out and go, cut her own face off and go and throw it into traffic.
I say, like, this is so heartbreaking as a woman. Like,
It's heartbreaking as a human. It's a disgusting thing.
It's so heartbreaking. You just go, they go, we're going to take average women and make them exceptional. And you're like, what, are you going to turn them into astronauts? No, you're just going to cut them up and make people judge them in swimsuits.
I think genuinely they're not attractive once they've been through the process. Because imagine being married to someone who every time they turn around, it's like a fucking being on a ghost train.
The thing that really did make me angry about it was they have 2 contestants and they typically have very low self-esteem, they have no confidence whatsoever, and that's very clear. They're only having the surgery because they're worried their husbands might cheat on them again. And they get to the end of the programme and they feel better, and right in the dying moments, they tell one of them they're a loser. Because they picked one of them to go through to a beauty pageant.
Still too ugly for the pageant.
Yeah, right. What makes The Swan even weirder is the competitive element. Each episode produces a winner and a loser, and at the end of the series, one is crowned the ultimate swan in an amazing pageant. Let's take a look at it.
We all know that the true test of a woman's confidence is how she feels in her bathing suit. So let's start with the woman who used to think she might never smile in public, Marlene. Remember the woman who hasn't had a date in 10 years? Here's Marnie.
The people who made that programme are
Let's get a troupe of unemployed actors together, all pretending to be different animals, to tear those people limb from fucking limb. George the Falcon, take his eyes! I like that woman who said she thought she'd never smile in public. Now she looks like she will never stop. She'll be getting taken round a children's hospice looking like Stevie Wonder.
Anyway, it all boiled down to these two going head-to-head, or rather face-to-face. But which of them went on to win? Was it Beth or Rachel? If you notice there that they are basically the same person, but with different coloured hair.
I think Beth won.
I think Beth too. She's just got more of a classic Barbie look.
Rachel seems to have been given Bruce Forsyth's chin. So I think Beth.
So you're all basically going for Beth. Let's see who's right.
Our first runner-up this evening is Beth Lay, which means Rachel Fraser, you are our first ever swan!
An astonishing, heartbreaking moment. Yes, the winner was Rachel. After that, the host said, let's take a look at some of your best bits. We've got them here in a shoebox. Did you find that moving?
Yeah, it makes me want to cry.
Anyway, it makes me want to cry, slightly. Anyway, at the end of that, Richard is in the lead. Join us after the adverts when we'll be back with a bit more Weird TV. Welcome back to our Weird TV special. It's time for the terrifying quickfire bit, so without further ado, let's set the tone with an especially weird quiz show noise.
Like you've just been handed a new case, Perry Mason.
OK, fingers on buzzers. Look at this guy. What is the special talent of this slightly wild-eyed so-called TV expert from Channel 5? Oh.
Is it that he looks completely bald, even though he isn't?
No, he's crazy.
Is it that he has one hand made of hair, which he uses to make it look like he's not?
I'll give you a clue. Think paranormal. Richard.
He believes he can speak to the dead.
Not quite the dead. In fact, almost the opposite of the dead.
He can speak to the alive. That's amazing.
Is he the baby whisperer?
I'll give you that. He is Derek Ogilvie, a.k.a. the baby mind reader. He claims he can psychically channel the thoughts of children too young to speak. Let's take a look at him in action as he tunes into what a toddler is thinking.
Instead of using the spoon, use a fork, right?
Yes.
You've noticed this, haven't you? Because she'll use a fork and then she'll put the fork down and go back to the spoon.
Yes.
Because she's scared because using the fork. Oh my God! Flippin' heck. She's so scared to grow up. She doesn't want to grow up.
I'd like it if he tuned into the baby's mind and then just shat himself. Here's what he's thinking.
Yeah, well, that was the baby mind reader. Disturbing footage, I think you'll agree. Tell you what, Derek, if you're so good at mind reading, see if you can read my mind now. God, I hope he can't really read minds, because I kind of admire him, to be honest. He's got his own show on 5 and a genuine gift. If anyone's a charlatan here, it's me. Anyway, better get back to the quiz. Oh, I hope Josie doesn't know I fancy her. I bet not that show. I know, I'll act a bit silly with her to mask my real feelings. Anyway, come on, next question. Come on, Josie, perk up. Anyway, what was weird about the Bolivian news coverage of the recent Air France plane crash?
It came from Sunderland. They flew their entire news team to Sunderland and then did the whole broadcast in binary.
Do you think that's the right answer?
No.
Anyone? Bolivian news coverage? Richard?
Did the newscaster get the giggles?
No. That only happened once when a plane crashed into Bum Mountain.
That's forgivable.
OK, I'll give you a clue. It's pretty ridiculous, and they used footage from another TV show.
OK. Is this something to do with Lost? I mean, did they sort of speculate that maybe they're alive and here's some footage of Lost?
That's pretty much right. Yeah. Yes, they mistakenly used pictures from the drama series Lost to illustrate the crash. It's actually quite a common practice in journalism. Sky News showed a whole episode of Hello, Hello to illustrate the anniversary of the D-Day landings. Well done, Richard. Point to you.
Yeah, thank you.
Next question. Fingers on buzzers. In the lurid, health-obsessed nanny state show Honey, We're Killing the Kids, how did they scare the parents into changing their unhealthy ways?
They show them a mock-up of their children where their children look really lower class. Like, they get older and older and then they have, like, a little earring. like the men, and that's how they go, oh no, our children won't, oh look at them.
Pretty much. To scare the parents into changing their ways, they digitally aged the children, and we can have a look at that astonishing process right now.
I can actually take you through your kids' teens, 20s, 30s, right up until 40. Let's take a look. Terrible. You're not killing one of your kids. You're killing 3.
Shameless. And in case you're interested, the software they use to simulate that effect is called Microsoft Bollocks 2.0.
I was totally right. They gave one of them an earring.
Yeah, it's not them that's killing their kids, it's time that's killing their kids. Everybody's kids have been killed by time.
End of the show! End of the show! That is the end of the show.
Is that your catchphrase?
Yeah. It's fucking rubbish, isn't it? At the end of that, in last place, it's Frankie Boyle. In second place, Josie Long. But tonight's victor, tonight's swan, is Richard Bacon. Proud of yourself?
Very.
Good. Don't forget to check the website to find out what to watch for next week. Until then, go away.
Get involved in TV Club. Visit channel4.com/watching to find out how. The In-Betweeners' quest for sex leads them to an old people's home. That's next.